Alrighty, we're back here with the TJ, with which should hopefully be a simple fix today. We're getting the check engine light with the code P0551, and that tells you that it's a power steering pressure sensor issue. So what we're going to do is replace the sensor for the power steering here. It's not too difficult to get to, although there is a bunch of stuff around it. So that's this sensor right here on the back of this hard fixed line coming off of the power steering pump. So the first thing we're going to do is release the clip holding the wiring harness on. So that was nice and simple. Now we need two tools for this because we need to hold the actual mount here on the hard line because we don't want to put any pressure and break that, and then we also need to be able to turn our sensor loose. So the mount is a 5/8 box wrench, will go on there pretty handily. Where this is going to be a little bit difficult for me here today is the sensor is a 7/8. Ideally I would do this with a deep well socket, but I don't happen to have a deep well 7/8 right now. So rather than run out to the store or run up to borrow one, we're going to try to do this with a 7/8 box wrench. And very little room in here. We'll try it with the box end, see if I could wiggle it. Okay. So let's see. I'm not really getting any play here with that direction, so let's see if I can come down this direction. There we go, we're on the sensor. I got some room to move the wrench. There we go. Oh, but I'm looking at it backwards. I actually tightened it there, so let's go the other way. Now hopefully we didn't go too crazy there. So before we go ahead and pull that completely off, I'm going to grab my new sensor. So I got the new sensor here. Got this one online. It wasn't bad. It was like 30 bucks. So now that I'm in here, I see it looks like I might have a little bit of leaking happening too. So it might be a bad O-ring or something on this sensor. But we're just going to swap the whole thing out. And we're going to do it semi-quickly just so we don't lose any more fluid than we need to. So that actually wasn't too bad at all. You can see the old sensor here. O-ring doesn't look terrible, but we'll see. It also didn't look like it was really leaking much until well, not up here until I pulled it out, but it might be actually leaking back here around the collar and the fitting. So we'll see. That might have been part of the problem with us on this one. So we'll go ahead and tighten her up by hand. Not too bad. Let's go ahead and throw our wrenches back on here. All right. Slide this up a little bit. That's probably tight enough. It wasn't very tight, not insanely tight to begin with. Don't want to go too overkill. So before I tighten it down, I'm going to grab a rag and wipe out its fitting off. Just going to wipe this off real quick so it looks nice and clean for me. Because then basically all I'm doing is I'm going to plug this back in, start her up. I'll wiggle the wheel back and forth, put some pressure on the power steering system here. We'll make sure she's not leaking, and we'll call this one good and hope that pesky check engine light doesn't come back. All right, clicked on there. Doesn't want to pull off. Should be good. But you can kind of see it must have been leaking a bit because on this thing here I'm getting definitely some buildup. Looks like power steering fluid. So hopefully that was my problem and the check engine light will be gone and we'll be good to go. So that's it. Thanks for tuning in today. Told you that was going to be a pretty simple one.